our group chat, we've just been singing Reach for the Stars line by line. So, yes, I'm with you. So, Alison Johnson, unfortunately, has had to go, and she was supposed to be doing this bit, so it's me again. Apologies. I am here to introduce Ross Greer, and since we all know him, I asked him some questions earlier. So, his dream dinner party guests would be John McClane, Mary Barber, and then a girl called Greta from Sweden who's 15 has been on strike from school for a month because they won't take climate change seriously. I said, does Ross have any fears, normal fears, like spiders? And he said no, but just deeply rooted existential fears. And his top duos include Meryl Streep and Cher, and Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama. And he likes dogs instead of cats, so he's wrong. But we love him. This is Ross Greer.
Dogs instead of cats is usually a dangerous opinion to hold in this party. First things first though, have you had an awesome weekend? There's so many people here who don't know each other, who've had wonderful opportunities to meet all sorts of other Greens this weekend, but there are plenty of people who are still sitting beside folk at the end of the weekend who maybe not had a chance to speak to yet. So for like 20 seconds, everyone turn to the person beside them and tell them one awesome thing you've enjoyed about this weekend. Go on. That's quite enough joy and happiness. 20 seconds of joy and happiness is more than enough for me as Presbyterian, which is all right there. So, this has been an incredible weekend. It's been a really, really long weekend. So, I'd like to first of all say a monumental thank you to all the volunteers who've given up their time to help everyone else have the best possible conference. Can we give them a huge round of applause? And all the young Greens a round of applause for last night's pub quiz. Yet another consistent. There's one group of people that I really personally want to thank in particular, which is the party staff. To give you an idea of how hard they're working on this, Becky, our IT officer, was here with me on Friday night when we were setting up and realised that our streaming system that we've got, which is really important for members who can't make it to conference to still be able to engage, wasn't quite working, which is a problem because we spent £700 on it on Monday. Lecky realised the one bit of cable we were missing, and at 2 in the morning on Saturday morning, he was in a taxi on the way to Renfrew to a friend's house who had that cable so that he could bring it back here and we could live stream the whole of our conference. I don't think Pete has slept in the last week. I've not seen John sit down at all this weekend. So can we give another huge round of thanks to the staff team? We decided on leading the change as our conference message last year for our 2017 conference, and fate smiled on us. We decided on leading the change off the back of the success we had with the first budget we negotiated with the government, some bits and pieces of important proposals we've had accepted by them, but not quite the headline issues outside of the budget that we've had since then. Between us deciding on leading the change and our 2017 conference, the government banned fracking. They said, well, they've kind of fudged that one a little bit, but no fracking's going on, and that's the important thing. They said that they were going to back John Finney's bill giving children equal protection from parental assault. By the time we got to our conference, we'd won so many proposals that we didn't think we were going to win, that the press were coming to us on Saturday morning saying, you really are leading the change, aren't you? And as a former press officer for this party, I can say that's never happened before. But we decided to continue with it, because over the years since our last conference, we've continued leading the change in Scotland. On social security, it's been mentioned a little bit this weekend, Alison Johnson has made monumental progress. The amendments that she had accepted, the social security bill, mean 13,000 people a year in this country are not going to be sanctioned in the way that they have been under the Westminster system. People are... repeated and necessary medical assessments to get the entitlements that they are entitled to are no longer going to have to do that because of Alison's amendments. Families who are living in poverty because they're not getting entitlements that they should be getting are now going to have a Healthier Welfare Children programme that's worked in Glasgow, rolled out across the whole country because of the efforts of Alison Johnson. We are leading the change on tackling poverty and giving everyone the right to a dignified life in this country, and it's down to Alison Johnson and the amazing work that her team has put in. But we've made so much. We've been making progress across the board. As I mentioned an hour ago, we won a vote in Parliament to give refugees and asylum seekers the right to vote in Scotland. We want a review into personal and social education in our schools with a particular focus on making sure that every young person leaves school having received a sex and relationship education that is based on the principle of consent. We are making progress across the board. We've redefined how income tax works in Scotland. We've stopped the deportation of people in our own communities. We've been cleaning up council investments. We've won agreement for buffer zones outside of hospitals to keep anti-abortion activists away from people who have a right to enter the hospital unharassed. We've been standing with workers taking industrial action, from bus drivers to lecturers. We've never been more influential. Green politics has never been more influential in Scotland than it is now. But it's never been more challenging to be a Green and to be involved in our movement than it is now as well. We spent a lot of this weekend talking about the IPCC report. That's a good thing. The end of the world is scary, and we are the anti-end of the world party. It's pretty important that we talk about this. One of the strongest messages that we sent from this conference was in the emergency motion that Alison moved and that was accepted unanimously yesterday morning, sending a message to the Scottish Government saying, don't you dare cooperate with a Tory UK government to sabotage efforts to tackle the climate crisis within the 12 years that the scientific community have told us that we've got left. No government should be aligned with the Tories to stop action on climate justice, and we will hold them to account for that. These articles will lead the campaign for net zero emissions targets by 2040 in Scotland, but we're also going to lead the campaign for the transformation over the next 12 years that we know we need. And we know that this isn't about people sacrificing to save the world. 100 companies are responsible for 70% of global emissions. Not 70% of emissions over the last decade or even the last century. 100 companies are responsible for 70% of global emissions since the dawn of the industrial era. These companies, this capitalist system, the forces that force everyone else in society to consume while they profit, they're the ones who are to blame for the climate crisis. They're the ones that we're going to hold to account. They're the ones we are going to make pay to solve this crisis and transform this world into the one that we know it can be. Across the world. We are already supporting communities across the world who are taking these people to court to force them to pay for coastal flood defences, to support climate refugees, to fund that transition that we know is needed. We know they can afford to pay. We know they have a moral duty to pay, and we are coming to collect. But that requires courageous governments. And that's a challenge for us here in the UK, and that's a challenge for us here in Scotland, because there can be no more having it both ways. We cannot afford governments that talk a good game, that have all the right rhetoric when it comes to climate justice, but let Oil and Gas UK write their policy on fossil fuels. You cannot be for maximum extraction of fossil fuels in the North Sea and for tackling climate change, and it's time to pick a side. Scottish Government to follow the lead of courageous governments like the governments in Iceland, in Sweden, in New Zealand, who've already set or have committed to set ambitious net zero emissions targets. And what do those three governments have in common? They've got Greens in. Government is exactly where our movement needs to be. It's exactly where our movement is heading towards. We already heard yesterday morning about the amazing results for Greens in Luxembourg. They've been re-elected after being in government and making a huge amount of progress. In Belgium, in Bavaria, the German Greens had their federal election last year. They got 9% of the vote. An opinion poll out this morning had them on 21% of the vote. That was 7 points ahead of Germany's equivalent of the Labour Party. European politics is changing, and it's changing in our direction because it needs to. It's not just in Europe. We've had breakthroughs to state parliaments across Canada, which is a huge deal because that is still an entirely first past the post system. We had the first 2 Greens elected to the Parliament of Rwanda just last week. We are a movement on the move across the world because we don't have any time left. But it's worth thinking, why are people rewarding us for this? And I think the leader of the Bavarian Greens in Germany got it bang on when she was celebrating their result last week. That was moments before they took a stage dive into the crowd at their election party. But she told the assembled journalists who asked, why are people voting Green now? She said, we don't play bullshit bingo. And I think Grace summarised it really well yesterday morning, when she said, we, the Green Movement, stand for openness, tolerance, democracy, progress, freedom and equality. We do it when it's popular, and we do it even when it's not. As other parties, particularly across our continent, have been bending in the wind, even when that wind is blown by the far right, we have always stood for the values that we have always stood for. We do not allow this prevailing idea of public opinion, which is usually a myth, to force us into taking positions that are the opposite of the values that we stand for. And the public recognise that. They are appreciating our honesty and our unambiguous values. And we can do that because we have that clear vision. Every Green party in the world, over 103 parties at the last count, are part of our global Green family, believe in the same 4 pillars. We believe in ecology, we believe in radical democracy, we believe in equality, and we believe in peace and non-violence. And collectively that shapes a vision of the world that we know we can deliver on. And we fleshed out that vision this weekend. We're talking about what that means in practice here for us now. We reaffirmed on Saturday morning our belief that Scotland's future is best served as an independent nation, playing a full part in the European project, working for a people's Europe. But we'll also fight tooth and nail between now and March to stop Brexit as part of the UK. We know that continuing to be governed by a post-colonial identity crisis writ large that is the Westminster system at the moment will see Scotland lose out time and time again though. So our Green vision about independence is not about recreating this kind of dysfunctional centralised state in Edinburgh rather than London. It's about what Kim said a few hours ago today. It's about transforming where power lies in our society so that it's in the hands of those who can use it best. All of us, in the hands of every community in every corner of this country. That comes with the powers of independence, but it also comes with so much that we can do right here, right now. And we've committed to so much that we will be able to campaign for, and we will be able to at least attempt to deliver over the coming months and years. We passed ambitious motions on meaningful progress on plastics to protect the marine environment, transformational changes to our food and agriculture systems. We detailed what a serious and meaningful challenge to the far right and their influence we look like. We reaffirmed our belief in voting rights for refugees and asylum seekers and their equality with other residents. We made significant progress to our own internal gender balancing mechanisms. Now, the Green Yes vision is one that we are going to shape and continue to develop over the next year as we talk about our case for a transformational vision of independence. But the immediate steps that we can take before then are the kind of things that we are out delivering through our branches, through in council chambers and in Parliament right now, like our campaign to improve public transport. I'm so happy that we have just voted for the principle of fare-free public transport, for the idea that your ability to travel should not depend on your ability to pay. But short of that, what we're campaigning for right now is the re-regulation of our bus system, because we fundamentally believe that public transport shouldn't be in the hands of private providers. They try to squeeze profit out of the system rather than give our communities the level of service that they deserve. What we've passed this weekend, the collection of motions that we've passed, show that we are the party of big, bold ideas. We are a party that says things can be better. We're a party that's honest enough to say that status quo is not an option, that we can continue down this road to profound crisis, or we can transform our world into one that is radically just. We can have a world that puts people and planet finally ahead of profit and the power of the few. We can empower local communities and build a truly global society. We can save the world, and I can't think of a more compelling offer than that. So thank you for spending the weekend here with us to make that reality just a little bit closer.